Hi folks, Clyde here. It's automation time in Kontakt. And we're going to have a look and see how easy it actually is to do in Mixcraft. So we have our Kontakt UI. We've got some preloaded MIDI so you don't have to suffer my keyboard skills. We need an instrument to play the MIDI on. So let's go into the factory library and choir. And let's do choir on Ah, because it's going to sound so beautiful. Anyway, here we have all these buttons that you can automate and stuff underneath the hood that you can automate too if you dare go underneath there. I don't. So let's have a look at the automations. First of all, turn it there. You notice there's two types. We have host automation and MIDI automation. We'll talk about MIDI automation first, but let's have a quick listen as to how this ensemble sounds without any automation. Pretty good, but it's also kind of flat as far as being alive and breathing. So the way we fix that is to put some phrase again using the volume controls here. Now, the first way that they have that we can do that is with CC automation. That's change codes. And one of my knobs on my oxygenate happens to be mapped to CC19. So I'm going to use that one. Left click, drag it over to the volume, and left click again and drag it over to the other volume because there's actually two volume controls on there. Now, generally speaking, I know I'm using CC19 here, but there's some safe CC numbers to use. There's a lot of them that are used inside each of the programs and inside the system itself. So the safe numbers are usually 3, 9, 14 to 15, 20 to 31, 85 to 90, and 102 to 119. And I have a sheet saying that taped to my mouse pad so I can refer to it very quickly. So look at your instrument manual and see what CC numbers are open. So getting back to our dynamics here, I'm going to arm this in a second. I want to show you that the recording mode I'm using for this is overdub. So whatever I record after this is going to be dubbed on top of that. And I'm going to use that to record the change codes of CC19 underneath the MIDI there. It's going to be done on another lane. You'll see that in a second. And what else do I want? I want to do something with a metronome. I'm going to get this out of the way for the time being. And I already have. I've got recording click off so that I don't have to listen to it while I'm trying to put in dynamics. Okay. So here we go. Arm it. And record. So you can see here already, there's our change codes on CC19 recorded into the lane. Now watch how that affects the volume controls here when we play it again. So it's not a very large movement, it's very subtle, and because these are very responsive. Now, one thing I also wanted to show you over here, I'm going to make this a little bit larger. You see this 1 bar of open space before the MIDI starts. That's recommended by quite a few people, quite a few DAWs, and quite a few library developers, because they found that the MIDI doesn't really register if you go right from the beginning. There's always a little bit of time before everything starts functioning properly, and that's not just in Mixcraft, that's in a lot of expensive DAWs too. So East West Quantum Leap in their manuals says specifically that you should have a bar beforehand where you should, if you're using a controller, you should put something from that controller into that bar, just so that it's kind of warmed up. So anyway, I'm going to bring this up for a second here, and you can see the general curve. And that works pretty good when you're just inputting stuff. Now, there's an issue if, and this is with any DAW that has this style of change codes in here, that if I want to do any kind of editing, let's say I wanted to come up a little bit higher in the peak here, and then come down, you see it's very hard to get anything exact. So any kind of a snap, lines, and curves would be a big help to that. And for me, when I start getting it here, I'll play it for you. You can hear all the jagginess. It might have even clipped a little bit, but every little bump that you hear in the sound, and it's very distracting. So when I get into editing a piece, deep into editing it, I can't really use this at all. I'd go nuts because I would have to adjust every single controller. So please, let's have lines and curves so that we can have smooth, can change codes. Now I'm going to get rid of this because we're going to go over, in fact, I'm going to get rid of the MIDI completely. Get rid of this lane. There's it at. Oh, I clicked in the wrong place. Lanes, delete. Oh, I have to delete this first. Okay, and I'll clean up the lane. Delete empty lanes. There we go, because we don't need that. We don't want that signal in there. Now we're going to go over to the other type of automation, which is called host automation. And you can see there's quite a few things that are pre-programmed. We're going to ignore that for now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down to host automation 40 and put that into both the volume controls. Okay, and as in CC automation, we're able to assign a knob to that. Well, first we have to find it here. Right now it's our automation lane is on track volume. So we have to go to Kontakt, CC40. There we go. And we'll automate it with a different controller this time. So MIDI automation, choose that parameter, and you see you got CC11 there. And MIDI automation. There we go. Now we should be able to look over here and see our 2 volume knobs moving. So recording this is slightly different than doing it with CC in that you arm the automation lane only. And move the counter over here. But the same caveat is in effect in that you should be mucking around with it a little bit in the open bar. Okay, so let's record again on this one. Here we go. actually came out a little bit better. I find it's very hard to use knobs to do this type of thing. I usually use my tablet with lemur on it, and because I have 8.5 inches of travel, and so it can really move things very easily around. Anyway, have a listen to this. Watch the lines. I'm going to shrink this down a bit. There we go. And watch the volume controls. See, nice breath, nice phrasing in there, nice taper at the end. Very good music making. So if I want to edit this now, it's quite easy to do here. A lot easier to do than it is on the change codes. I'm going to turn off ARM first. Let's see, I just wanted to come up a little bit, well, a little bit higher here. Just a little bit. And I actually do want to do my taper a little bit quicker. Delete that point and move it over there. I've got snap on. Normally I would have snap off when I'd be doing this. We'll have a listen to that. Yeah, that's good. So, as you can see, I think I've covered just about everything there is to cover about automating Kontakt in Mixcraft. You can see it's quite easy, and it's also quite powerful. It's what turns electronics into real music, and you add that human touch. So that's all for this one. I think my next set of videos are going to be about building an orchestra. So that's going to take a while, though, because that's a pretty complicated process and controversial.